Hey guys, welcome back to the Paladin's Alliance. There's a lot of instability going around in NA. We had some crazy upsets in terms of EG beating Heroic. You had Liquid absolutely bombing out of the spring groups against Big. And I want to talk about something a little bit more stable though. The conversation surrounding the player that has been a staple to Liquid for so long. And honestly, is a big reason as to why they had so much success in the first place and why they're even relevant as of the last few years in general post Grand Slam, and that's NAF. And I'm bringing back the Unsung Heroes series just because I think in particular NAF has been through a myriad of different roles in his career, and right now he's got some tough roles to deal with. I mean, he's still got a couple of pretty good T-sided star-ish roles, but on the CT side, he's got a lot of anchoring duties, and he's got a lot of heavy lifting to do when you've got more aggressive pieces in terms of Yekindar and at times Elige and maybe even a little bit of OC here and there. Obviously not as much as we like, but that's another story for another day. But regardless, NAF has done very, very well for himself, even at the Blast Spring groups where Liquid decided to bomb out. He was actually I believe he was among the top 10, or yeah, he was number 11 on the top players of the spring groups, and that is with the kind of collapse that Liquid had. And I think that in and of itself speaks to just the stability and consistency that he's able to provide time in and time out. And you can even look at the ratings that he's had in the last year, basically, and it's all in the green. He's always done his job, and we've done a lot of different supportive elements across the series. We had Perfecto, Inters, Shush, even players like Mezzi, and while they don't necessarily get their numbers, they always have an additional perspective that allows them to be among the unsung heroes, and that be information gathering in a player like Inters, or clutching ability like Perfecto, or the ability to stall like Perfecto. Shush with his ability to anchor like a demon. I mean, he's very, very good at stalling, and he's very good at bluffing as well. I think that's one thing that really leans into that heroic system. But with a player like NAF, I mean, he's the guy that's able to do it with numbers and numbers alone. Sometimes he doesn't even decide to stall. He just decides to stand and fight. He gets that necessary 2-piece or 3-piece in some situations, and he allows the retake to be very, very doable for his teammates. So we'll jump into a couple of demos to showcase that kind of anchoring ability that he has on the CT side. And then we'll also take a look at what he does on the T side and why he's such a shining light to at least keep Liquid within these scenarios when you have more volatile pieces like your Yekindars, like your OCs, like your Nitros, and make sure that he gets the necessary 1 or 2 kills to allow them to get into that site, play the post plant. And obviously NAF is very, very good in the clutch. He's a very cerebral player in that sense when it gets down to these even mad situations, and I think that NAF is very, very gifted in that sense. So we'll have a couple rounds picked out there as well. So let's get into it. Unsung Heroes edition for NAF. So as I said previously, NAF plays a bit of the more extremity roles on Liquid's T sides, and then usually when they actually go into these site hits, he's going second or third. So it's a bit more of a star T-sided role in terms of getting the numbers, getting that trade frag and whatnot. We have a couple rounds here where he not only showcases how valuable he is in those extremities, but also how valuable he is in those actual site hits themselves. So obviously round opened up. Dexter, we know how aggressive he likes to get with that AWP, so the instant punish from Nafly is very, very important overall because it stalls out any more ideas that OG has. He throws out the AWP as well, so they can't be retrieved by a myriad of number of players who are willing to secondary op on this OG squad. So following this, I mean, obviously Liquid decide to overhaul their T side and decide to move all the way to the B site after NAF has provided so much commotion on this side of the map. So they pull over to that side of the map, and Nitro decides to play full contact as they haven't shown any sort of B presence, and he expects that NAF can trade him out very easily. Fico only gets 1, and that's exactly what Liquid wanted. The molly comes through, Yekindar from short side, and then NAF decides to pounce. He gets even more information that Next is playing Get Right, free bomb plant, and now we're into the 2v1. This is where Liquid is very, very willing to allow NAF to play the clutch, and OC plays it as such. He gets the information that Neofrag is on cat side, and he'll keep scaling, and I believe Neofrag will get into this 1v1 here. No, he doesn't even get into the 1v1. NAF plays it beautifully at empty pillar, and that's that fifth round secured. So great play in, shutting down Dexter's aggression in Palace, but also showcasing how he can be a star in his own right when actually coming into these side hits. And it's really a piece of stability, especially with a player that likes to be such a hard entry like a Yekindar, and a player that's as sacrificial as a Nitro. In this round in particular, the very next round actually in Liquid's T side, it has to come down to another clutch, and this one just shows the kind of ability to make plays that NAF can provide on this squad as well. I mean, it begins with basically everything going wrong for Liquid in the early round. You've got a fight coming in through main initially, where they just want to kind of somewhat contact into this play, and Nitro just gets absolutely obliterated by Flames on stairs. And this kind of cancels Liquid's plans, and they back out, especially with Yekindar in underpass. So he tries to scale out himself, and as Yekindar's scaling out, he can't get the kill on Flames either, as he's reoriented himself into connector. So this basically forces Liquid's hand into somebody having to make a play and open up a bomb site on their lonesome, and NAF is exactly the player that's willing to do that. He flashes his team into mid, and so they continue to feign that mid presence, that they want to retake that portion of the map, and NAF decides to, after all of the CT utility has come through, he's just going to walk his way all the way out. It's a hole in the CT defense, and OG are caught with their pants down as NAF finds a beautiful timing onto Neofrag, especially on this balcony player here. It's really just a game of timing, but he finds it, and as soon as he does, that's where Leech pounces and throws that smoke stairs, or I believe jungle, sorry, and a flash CT, and this is where, Liquid is still in a man disadvantage, and I believe, OC will go down here. So NAF has to play on the aggressive and make sure that there's enough space for the bomb to go down and for them to have good enough post plans to actually have a chance in this 2v3. Elige pulls ones back from CT, and at this point into the 2v2, it should be T-sided favored. Although NAF gets flashed here, he still provides enough information and damage on Afiku that Elige has a very doable and winnable 2v1 here. As the time rots away, Elige gets the kill before the smoke plumes, and he does get that information that Dexter is playing con side, and this is just a matter of timing. Elige is getting lost in the sauce in that smoke. He wins the 2v1, and NAF, I have to admit, has a huge proponent as to why this 2v3 or 5v3 actually worked out in Liquid's favor. So credit to him in his playmaking ability on the T side, and also star rolls and those actual executes themselves. I wanted to pick out one more T-sided round here just to showcase how NAF can play off of his teammates very well and bring back another man disadvantage. This time it gets even better opposition in terms of Na'Vi. At least at the World Finals, they looked pretty comfortable to at least qualify for the playoffs in and of itself. So let's get into it real quick. This has Liquid coming off the back of a bomb plant, so they have a pretty decent buy into Na'Vi. They tried to have this kind of like a B pincer in a cave, and then also from mid as well, so they can garner a bunch of little bits and pieces of map control, so they can try to make a decision late round. But it all kind of goes not according to plan. They try to fight into cave, and that fight goes very poorly. And they try to waltz into donut, and I believe they only go 1-for-1. So that all being said, it basically leaves NAF and OC in this 2v4. So NAF has to take this dry duel because he understands that they're quite in a deficit. But they get that CT player, and that really means that the retake is on. Although they don't have any utility, they can utilize Donut as a very, very advantageous position. And watch how NAF very easily plays through this clutch. And it's really off the back of OC's contact that this works so well. So OC plays a little bit of a sliver gap here, so that no matter who crosses, the first player and the first contact that they see is OC, that they discount NAF's tucked in position here. So he gets one, and him getting that second there, the spacing is just a little bit off, and NAF capitalizes, and it leaves OC in this clutch. All he has to do is toss his flashbangs, and with the fact that it's the earlier rounds in the half, kits aren't up, and Na'Vi have to concede. So very, very well played 2v4 from both OC and NAF, and it has to come down to just NAF's ability to kind of play off of his teammate there and showcase how good he is, even in clutches when other players are up with him. So let's switch over to that CT side, and I just want to discuss about the stoic anchoring that he's able to do, but also how he has a serious ability to actually retake into some of these bomb sites. The context in this round in particular that I've picked out is just to showcase that the coolness and try to shut down the bleeding after time in and time out, they've lost these bomb sites and have to save repetitively. And finally, NAF is able to kind of stop it all with a beautiful 2K. It's a very simple one. It's a very quick round, but I just wanted to showcase just the ability to retake and how efficient he can be in some of these situations. I mean, he's obviously very, very competent in anchoring, and I'll showcase that to you in a couple more rounds. But I just wanted to showcase a little bit of a retake frenzy. So here, he is that solid B anchor. Rekindar gets 2 there into this 3v3, and NAF has to really respect that lurk that could come out from any number of players on Na'Vi, and the potential for them to just waltz back into that B site. So he just plays far back CT. He knows that there's an avenue back in until that bomb goes down. But eventually, with all that silence, NAF has to make a gamble, and with that utility sounding off as well, Donut player spotting, they've discounted NAF completely. They think that he may be coming from main. Maybe they tripled up onto the Donut side, and he gets 1 kill onto Perfecto. He goes bounding out, 15 seconds left on the clock. He gets that 2nd kill on a bit, and that basically confirms the round. Even though he tucks in there, STY has to waste so much time. He's exposed to so many different angles on Donut, and Nitro should be able to take him down as they just hop through that smoke and give Liquid their 14th. They do go on to actually lose this game, surprisingly, and it really comes down to a few rounds after this. But a reason why Liquid were still in this and stemmed that bleeding of, yeah, see, look, 5 rounds in a row on Navi's T side was down to NAF actually putting down the law with that 2K from CT. So very well played, very cerebral in some senses, but we'll get into the more important side of NAF's CT sides. So now to get into the meat and potatoes of why I think NAF is so good on the CT side. He's obviously a very, very competent anchor, and we've seen that he can get his 1 and 2s for sure across a myriad of different maps. He's very comfortable at doing that. But I do want to showcase just how reliable he is in getting his numbers. Liquid is very, very good on Anubis right now, and I think a large part of it comes down to the reliability of Yekindar and E-Box and Nafly in the B side itself. And we'll see in this play here, it's kind of like protect the president and making sure that that E-Box presence is still there. And ways for T's to get back in are with these uglier buys, through these half buys where you can just overrun that E-Box player. But NAF does a very good job of not only punching in damage, but also getting the necessary kills, and obviously you'll see that he has beautiful mechanics on top to do so. Flash kind of misses, but that's no harm, no foul. He gets that jump spot, or sorry, he just gets that little bit of a pixel peek, and they're through. So NAF does well to get the first, he does damage on the second, and Yekindar gets his 1, and now you'll just see NAF go to town. Those 2 beautiful, beautiful kills with basically like the last 10 bullets in his mag, and he closes it out with a beautiful nade on the Fang down in E-Box, and he gets Liquid their 6. These are the kind of momentum building rounds that made them absolutely steamroll through complexity throughout this map, and it ended in a 16-2 battering. And I think these rounds are the ones that can let T's back into the half for sure. So well done to NAF there, and showcasing beautiful mechanics, and just a very, very smartly played in terms of, you know, making sure that the E-Box presence is always there for this squad. Look, it wouldn't be an Unsung Heroes without amazing supportive utility from whoever I'm picking. So I just wanted to finish off this video with basically a round showcasing NAF's just ability to play within crossfires that are set up by the CTs, and also just setting up his teammates for success with some great flashbangs. You'll see here just a very simple one to pop in a monster. The timing is very, very well read. I'm not necessarily sure what the timing was, but the double flash there not only sets up OC for the double, but he'll eventually end up with the quad here. And although NAF doesn't actually get the kill there, it's really the damage and the information that is gained and the setup for OC and barrels to really do some damage here. He gets 4 in the round, and, you know, we've talked about his questionable fragging ability, but setup like that is what makes NAF such a spectacular player, and honestly a very in-depth player. You know, he's not necessarily a very one perspective type of player. I mean, there's a lot of layers to him. So very, very well done to him. I'm excited to see what he can provide to Liquid, whether Liquid can, you know, stabilize after that absolute trouncing by Big, and whether or not Kato is the start of something new. But no matter what, I always think that NAF is going to get his numbers, and overall, I'm very happy to see that, you know, he's kept up this longevity even since the Optic days, and through the Grand Slam era of Liquid as well. So that's going to do it for me in this video, just showcasing kind of the Unsung Heroes yet again. I mean, if you like this series, I mean, it is what kind of started my YouTube in general. So if you guys like it, of course, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I will try to keep looking and try to keep changing up the series, because I think this is a little bit of different Unsung Heroes in the sense that this is a player that gets more numbers rather than, you know, support in terms of his roles, but he still plays supportive roles, if you get what I'm saying. So overall, I think that I'm excited to see if we can push this series into new territories, and I think NAF is the start of something new in that regard. So if you liked it, again, let me know, and we'll be back with another video shortly, maybe next week. But if not, you know, stay tuned to all the podcasts. We've got Max Rounds 30 coming on every week with Jacob Halfman and M&M's on that channel. So I did actually do a post on it. So if you want the link, go there. 2.5 Town, of course, and then we have a couple of things still gestating, trying to get all the ducks in a row. But we'll be at that as well. So keep an eye out for a couple of new shows as well. So excited for 2023, and bring on Kato. Peace.